The latest trailer for Pokémon Sun and Moon showed off a lot of new details, but potentially the biggest revelation is that the people of Alola are working on creating their own Pokémon League. Now, for those of you keeping up with the rumors and leaks, this may seem a bit familiar. The infamous Chinese leak stated that there will be no traditional gyms and no Pokémon League in Alola. Your goal is to actually create one, and after you do, an Elite Four will appear, which are the leaders of each island. This all seems relatively accurate so far, based on our limited knowledge and the fact that the other predictions have a good track record. However, we have a slightly different idea that could indicate just how big Sun and Moon is. We could be completely wrong, but the potential is too intriguing for us not to put it out there. Right off the bat, the Pokémon League is only mentioned in the English trailer. There's no sign of it anywhere in the Japanese trailer, which leaves us with two scenes tied to this topic. The first is the mountain that the trainer was looking at with Professor Kukui. This snowy mountain, the tallest in all of Alola, is known as Mount Lanakila, which is Hawaiian for triumphant or victory. That seems like a pretty clear allusion to Victory Road from the previous games, the traditional final challenge before taking on the Elite Four. And we've seen Mount Lanakila many times before on the map, but we've always worked off the assumption that players would have to go through it in order to reach the observatory on the other side. We don't think that's the case anymore. Instead, the observatory has a slight road that curves toward the nearby city, which means Mount Lanakila stands alone. Quite appropriate for a final Elite Four challenge. Now here's where things get tricky. The other scene shows the trainer talking with two construction workers who simply say that you should become a great trainer because they're going to make an awesome league there. But why there? This is clearly not Mount Lanakila. It's raining, there's a crumbled old wall on the right, a Pokémon Center on the left, and a stairway further ahead. The Pokémon Center on the mountain would be on the right based on the map, so where is this located? Well, we looked all over the map and there's no place on it that exactly fits. The closest we can find is on Ula'ula Island at the base of the mountain. It's still missing the wall and the stairs, which could be discounted because it's just a map, but this same map has been incredibly accurate in depicting other locations. So that finally brings us to our theory. What if the creation of a Pokémon League isn't just the Elite Four and Champion? What if these construction workers are also building gyms across Alola as well? Now, right away, the Pokémon website has no mention of gyms in the section about the Pokémon League. Instead, it lists the Pokémon League as the location of the Elite Four and Champion before going on to say that Alola is looking to create its own league on top of Mount Lanakila. But this begs the question, are gyms required in order for trainers to reach the league? We've never seen them separated up to this point, so it was never a question. But could the Island Challenge serve as a proper substitute for the Gym Challenge? We don't think so. Again and again, Alola has shown that the Island Challenge is more of a journey of personal growth, of connecting with Pokémon, and we see that in the challenge itself. Trials seem to involve Pokémon in different ways, and the end of a trial is capped off with a battle against a totem Pokémon. The only humans you face during the entire process is the 4 kahunas. The Gym Challenge is about connecting with Pokémon through battle, getting better tactics and becoming stronger in order to be the best among your fellow trainers. They're two completely different ideologies, which makes the Island Challenge a weird fit as a prerequisite of the Pokémon League. Because of that, we think gyms will be built across Alola as well. Looking at the map, there are 7 open squares across the region. One on Melemele Island in the middle of Hau'oli City, one on Akala Island in the initial port city, 4 on Ula'ula Island with one in its port city, one next to the Pokémon Center south of Mount Lanakila, one in the water south of that, and one on a small island north of that. And finally, the last square is on Pony Island at the docks. Could these conspicuous locations really be the future sites of gyms? We think there's a possibility. Now you may be wondering why there aren't 8 gyms like usual. Well, we believe it's because of the Z crystals. It was revealed during the Nico stream that there would be only 7 trial captains, and the trials are how you receive some of the Z crystals that are based on each type. We still think 4 more crystals will be earned from the kahunas, which leaves 7 for the remaining types. These could be earned during this gym challenge. The question is, who would be the gym leaders? There could be brand new characters, but we don't think that's going to be the case. Remember, the Chinese leak said that the Kahunas would become the Elite Four, likely becoming much more difficult. After all, both Hala and Olivia only use 3 Pokemon during your battles with them. It would be quite easy for the trial captains to also fill the role of gym leaders, allowing you to finally battle them and earn the remaining Z crystals. We'll admit that this is kind of a crazy theory, but a lot of things fall into place that give it some merit. It would also increase the length of the game to have to go back across Alola challenging gyms. Perhaps it'll also be a non-linear affair, similar to the Kanto Gym Challenge in Gold, Silver, and Crystal. There's a lot of potential to be had while providing both something new and something familiar. Then again, during our interview with the developers, they heavily implied that gyms weren't in the game. So could it simply be a post-game quest, or they're just hiding it for the surprise? Or maybe there really aren't any gyms. But what do you think? Could this really be the case? Let us know in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Game Explained for more on Pokemon, including our full analysis of the latest trailer and other things gaming too.